Muy buenas tardes, estimados compatriotas, friends of Mexico. Once again, we are here at the Consulate of Mexico in Brownsville, Texas, for another, what we call the TED Talk, these webinars that we are having every month. And to promote this time for the month of August, we will be having all the information you may need for to boost foreign direct investment. So please let me show you what we have for you. On the screen, what are the news? Well, just a few data that we are taking from the IMF, from the UNCTAD, the United Nations, and our Ministry of Economy, that you can be accurate and you can be trustful that Mexico is today the 13th largest economy globally, with a GDP of 2.03 trillion. Just to tell you that we have had very good news for foreign direct investment. Not only we attracted in 24 more investments than Latin America and the Caribbean, around 37 billion, but 25, end of 25, it reached $41 billion with a almost 11% increase. This has been boosted not only by our USMCA, but because we have 30 bilateral investment treaties that protect investments for the rest of the world, and 31 countries with 40 free trade agreements benefit altogether 52 countries that can be a platform for any investor from the US coming to Mexico. I wanted just to remind you, we have discussed this before, that our BITs, bilateral investment treaties, are there. They are not new. They have been since the 90s, since the NAFTA time. But in any case, that you know that Mexico has the third highest number of active BITs in the American. And also, this is a way of having a level playing field competition, legal protection, and of course, a guarantee for investor-state dispute resolution mechanism. Where is this foreign direct investment going if we compare Mexico to Latin America? Definitely to FDI in digital companies. Here you see a chart up to 24, all the main companies that went to other countries in Latin America and those that went to Mexico. You have Amazon, Microsoft, and other main industries that trust Mexico as a accurate and the best place to have their investment in digital sector. The trends, if we go not only from Latin America to the world, worldwide, Mexico is the 11th largest FDI recipient of FDI, the third among OECD countries, and the fourth in the Americas. Who is investing in Mexico? First, definitely, and you know that that's why we are so good partners, is the United States, with almost $800 million amount in foreign direct investment, followed by Spain, Canada, Germany, the European countries, but also Argentina coming to our economy. In these trends, if we see it, how they have grown from 23, 24, 25, it is amazing how it is growing in the last year. We broke a record in FDI with $41 billion nearly, with a 133% compared to 2024. So where are these investment goings? In more detail, they are mergers, acquisitions, and they are also concentrated, you will see here in the next chart. In transportation equipment, this is for the end of 25. In $1 million, the most of it, the 14, almost 15,000 dollars went for manufacturing. But in this manufacturing, we have transportation equipment first, computer equipment, then food industry, and then other industry equal to electric devices and energy equipment. This chart is so interesting because it's very different from 24. Financial services grew. We have also transportation, logistic, construction, mining, so wholesale. So this is why foreign direct investment is not only in the production, but also in the services. Another very important data that we now have from the Harvard Growth Lab is that one sector in this new way of measuring, that is the high complexity clusters measurement, one cluster investment can jump to the other. For instance, from metalworking and electronics. So this makes a robust industrial base. Also, this happens with chemicals, pharmaceuticals. These complex sectors, you can see how they move from one to the other. What is making these investments come to Mexico? You see here, not only as an emerging market, in the confidence index of Kearney, we are the 5th place. There is confidence in Mexico, and we have other assets, skilled young workforce, strong domestic market, and very interesting macroeconomical and political policies that are coming, you know well, we talked about it the last time, such as Plan Mexico. Of course, geography, geopolitical counts. That's where we have the USMCA and these strong linkages that we have, the US, Mexico, and Canada, built since 1994 with the NAFTA. So all of this has built a robust industrial infrastructure and a wide network of trade that belongs not only to our region, but to other strategic partners. So here you can see a little bit what I mentioned about the skill force. We are the 10th most populous country, over 130 million people, and from those, over 60 million are economically active individuals. So this is human capital. And their age is 30 of them, they have 30 years or so. And then we are the top 10 OECD countries with this work skill force. And then we have also STEM graduates. You can see that 175,000 STEM graduates in 2023, 70% are in engineering, manufacturing, and construction. So that's why we are having so much qualified workforce. Another asset that we have is the energy. We are innovating in energy, in the transition to greener and cleaner energy. We are also investing as a government in semiconductors, electromobility, cybersecurity, and we have several centers of research. 50 of them are focused on electricity, innovation, electronics. One of them in AOE, it takes care of astrophysics, optics, electronics, and also of CIMAV, research in advanced materials, semiconductors, which is now so required in the market worldwide. You can see, if you look at the map of Mexico, is central, southern, and eastern regions that are concentrating the most of professionals in the STEM. You will receive tomorrow, after tomorrow, this chart in our mailing list, but you can also ask for it in the website because this data will be available for you. We will put it in our Facebook Live network. We are also in X. We are also in Instagram. You will receive this chart if you need it, not only by mail, but you will have it. Now, what is harnessing this renewable energy for a sustainable future? Because Mexico does want to have a sustainable economy. We are putting our efforts in developing the solar, the wind, the infrastructure of transmission, and clean energy to generate the 45% of our energy by 2030 should be definitely renewable. We have also this infrastructure that with Plan Mexico, we are trying to boost ports and terminals, railways, custom offices, airports, and road networks. We're expanding all of these with a concrete plan to 2030. Here you can see what we have now. On the left side, Mexico's port system. On the right side, all the highways corridors. On this side where we are, in Matamoros, Tamaulipas, and Brownsville section, we see a main hub connecting us in this part of Texas. Here you see, now for the next one, in those connections by rail, you see by highways, by ports, the government, our President Claudia Sheinbaum, has identified these new strategic goals. It is important for you to know that on the side of Tamaulipas, we have one, you see number one there at the coast, which is the Altamira strategic goals. Those are related with energy, semiconductors, electromobility, aerospace, clean energy, circular economy. If we go in detail, you will find number 12 is Altamira, Tamaulipas. But right now, there is an effort to create a second pole, which is not only strategic, but is what we call Polo del Bienestar on the Matamoros port. Also, we have here the dry port of Ciudad Victoria in Tamaulipas that is just been launched. You will see it in the next presentation, that we are trying to have main hubs for development here in Tamaulipas, which is the neighbor of Texas, an important neighbor of Texas. So what do we have here? Not only this infrastructure, this human capital, but Mexico itself offers to our investors a very good quality of life with a culture, a very rich culture that for any expat or any investor that arrives to Mexico will have 36 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. You will find more than 11,000 kilometers of coastline, not only in the Pacific and in the Gulf, but we touch as well, after the Gulf, the Caribbean Sea. And you will see a creative population that enriches innovation. That's why STEM is no longer STEM, it is STEAM, because it includes art. Art is crucial for innovation. And then on the high level standard of living, Mexico is in the Michelin Guide. Everybody talks about it for an amazing food. Our Mexican food is also recognized by UNESCO, and with more than 23 star sites. So UNESCO is also listed us since 2010 as a main cultural heritage for our cuisine, our kitchen. Now, what are the new? This is what we already have for the end of 25. New things are happening, very important and very exciting things. For 26, we have a new law on investment and infrastructure projects starting in April. This law is creating a new framework to coordinate private sector participation with strategic infrastructure projects. We also have, with this law, is connected to these poles, strategic poles, but it is open to foreign direct investment. With our law, we have a law that protects foreign direct investment since 1996. So the new law linkages strategic infrastructure with public participation and, of course, foreign investment participation. But then, after April, in May, our president, decided to open a presidential office for investment promotion at the presidential level. This office is so interesting because it is really reducing bureaucracy for main strategic projects. Right now, we have received already 22 digital projects for $8,000 million that will boost, since they are in the digital sector, all other projects that are needed for SMEs, for industry, it's a cross-cutting sector that will have a multiplier effect. So what this office is doing, it is supporting investors through authorization process, liaising with local authorities in a way that will be as fast as 1 month only to have all the permissions and approvals. That's why Mexico is really cutting red tape and facilitating investment from the top level at the president office. With these fast-track approvals in our poles of well-being, they are also receiving investments of 150 million already in strategic sectors. And all of these poles, both poles of well-being and poles, strategic poles, are receiving tax and fiscal inputs and incentives. SAT is our authority for fiscal authority is simplifying registration, applying non-retroactive audits and making those smoother and eliminating and waives of penalties or any institutional system and protecting the investor to avoid double taxation. Which sectors are those strategic sectors that I just mentioned and that are in Plan Mexico? Energy, oil and gas, water, railways, road. Here in this chart, you will see what is the commitment of what we want to reach by 2030, and what are the goals and the amounts of land allocated for all of these sectors. Please, once you receive this, we will put this on our website and on the social media, so you can take a look at this data. Of course, these sectors are being reinforced with new industrial parks. We have 103 under construction that would allow 21.5 million square meters. This is amazing because from 24 to 25, we have a growth of 12.1 allocation of new industrial parks, also increasing the existing ones and making more facilities within them. We want, being at the border of Texas and Tamaulipas, what we want to share with you is this very important program, IMEX. IMEX is particularly developed for the border and from the maquiladora industry. These companies that have an export or focus is what we call maquiladora. It's part of the process that is being built in Mexico, but sometimes and many times with US companies already in Mexico. So this lower operating cost improves competitiveness. They are benefiting from IMEX with 100% exemption from the general import tax, and there are reduced compensatory fees case by case. So what we are doing, we are including value-added taxes, special tax certification in a way so that any company or startup that gets this certification from IMEX and registered in IMEX will be have a 50% reduction for other taxes. What is another detail of these tax incentives for investment and nearshoring? Not only the northern border, if you care to go to the southern border, Guatemala and Belize, we have key benefits there. The 50% that I mentioned of the IVA, the value added tax, because our value added is of 16%, so it comes to 8%, and 1/3 tax credit for the income tax. So this is part of what we are also doing to promote nearshoring, so that nearshoring and reshoring becomes a win-win for the border where we are. And finally, this is another very good program that you might be interested. You, as a company in the US, in Texas, at this border, you don't need necessarily to go to Mexico. You can become a key strategic provider, supplier of parts that are needed for our industry. So this is a special PROSEC program that is to import to Mexico specific goods that are key for the capital development, machinery development, raw material, and you will have preferential tariffs no matter where that product is produced, is manufactured. So this applies to automotive, electronics, aerospace, and of course, all of the strategic sectors that I just mentioned. It also reduces duties on inputs and machinery. So it's not only the amounts and the cost, it also makes it easier. Here, you will have the opportunity to look at some of the current taxes and where they are, why they are. These are the taxes applicable at municipal, state, and federal level to all companies in Mexico. So all of these incentives that I mentioned make it even a preferred climate for the investor in Mexico, because then you go under these taxes. What are some of those incentives that we're giving? For instance, in the income tax, you will have the deduction to new fixed assets, except equipment, furniture, vehicles, but for all that is infrastructure assets. If you're coming to Mexico for the first time, if you already have 2 years of operation, and any acquisition that you will have this deduction is up to September 30, 2030. And then also for depreciation percentages, we are having very attractive deductions. Other reduction of taxes comes from the income tax, and or any of your employers, formal employers that you register at the Social Security, IMSS in Mexico, on any innovation project will have a deduction of 25%. We have a long-standing development bank that has been supporting investment. This is Nacional Financiera, and it's key that you're aware that it exists, and NAFIN, as we call it, is ready to support you. It is not only factoring for suppliers of clients in Mexico or abroad, and it helps with the rates, pesos, dollars. It also is a linkage to the state's program at the state level with certification. It is also supporting with credit for green business, because we care for SMEs that do green energy, anything that is energy efficient. And it gives guarantees as well if as a collateral requirements for suppliers, and of course, transport modernization. And NAFIN gives training in financial education so that you know how the financial market works in Mexico, and the business consolidation. And of course, we care for elder people. We know that our after 50 years old foreign investor or Mexican investor, they are so valuable, they have experience. So we have an entrepreneurship program for those. They are human capital and they are welcome in Mexico. So even anybody that is retired, you are still good, you are still valuable, you are still knowledgeable, and we welcome you in Mexico. Bancomex is our other development bank. Bancomex, of course, it is focused in trade, but it supports SME, it supports leasing for the financing of machinery, and it supports IMEX. IMEX as our program for maquiladora at the border. It also gives letters of credit, and it helps women. We have women that are entrepreneurs that are interested in foreign trade in the supply chain. So here, Bancomex gives training for export, a business plan, a family business, corporate governance, and of course, financial management. So as you see, Bancomex and NAFIN, they are not the same. They are complementary, and they help you as an investor in Mexico. We have, for those who have not traveled to Mexico, I invite you to take a look at the VUI MX. It is the single window for investors that tells you step-by-step guide, the procedures by sector, information, general information with a quick response and guidance for any procedures. This gives you transparency, legal certainty, and it gives you the real timing in processing time. So anything you see in VUI Mexico, it is important that you take a look, because then if you have an important strategic investment, we go from VUI to the office at the President Investment Management Office up there. Also, as you know, the Consulate of Mexico is one of the 53 consulates in the US, and our Ministry of Foreign Affairs is the one that guides us. We have our Minister of Foreign Affairs, Roberto Velasco, who is very keen on that we consulates give this economic support. So we also created a portal that is called Gateway MX. This is geared by the Mexican Ministry of Foreign Affairs in support to our economic ministry, Secretaría de Economía. Why? Because we are supporting, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, mainly investments. That's why you can reach out, feel free to come to the consulate, to send letters, to visit us. I will be very happy to receive you with our team and to give you more information that you may find. If you don't find it here in Gateway, we can really take you in the different stages and to accompany you to the place where you find a polo de desarrollo, either de bienestar or strategic. Thank you so much, and I thank my team for supporting us here. So what I would like is now to give you the opportunity of asking questions, and we are here open for you. Thank you very much. So we have any questions from the public or online, please, I give it to my team to tell us what we have.
We have a question here asking, besides the federal tax incentives, are there also state-by-state incentives from each individual Mexican state?
Yes, it is. It is. That's a very good question. For instance, now in Tamaulipas, in those polo de desarrollo or polo estratégico that I mentioned, like Altamira, like Puerto Seco, they have land to be allocated, if you want, completely without cost. If the industry, if the enterprise is going to be benefiting the welfare of the state, of the municipality, of the country, or if it is going to be of a strategic interest in energy, in logistics, in transportation, or digital or electronic. Yes, it is. This is supports at the state level, but also at the municipal level. The municipal level has other taxes that once you are there and you decided to do a visit, a field visit, it can be granted to you. So yes, that's a very good question. Thank you.
Acá también preguntan, Consul, ¿qué incentivo fiscal resultaría o podría ser más atractivo para la inversión extranjera directa?
Okay, let's say it in English. Which fiscal incentive would be mostly of interest for the foreign direct investment? Yes, I can tell you that it is very important, the VIT because it has a multiplier effect, and the VIT is linked to the dual recognition of investment treaties. So this means that any good will not be double taxed. It won't be taxed in the country of origin and again in Mexico. That is one. The other one, not only we have not only one tax that can be useful. The second one definitely is the income tax, because that is the tax on the property, on the investment. And normally that amount, the value of the company, of the venue, of the development, the production facility can be high, and then the percentage of the income tax can be high. So what is happening now, and this is very interesting for 2026, we are having mostly our foreign direct investment has decided to reinvest in Mexico and increase the size of their facility. So this is also very good news. Thank you. Any other question here?
Yeah, we have one final question here. How do you see the rest of this year in terms of investments to Mexico?
How do I see the rest of this year?
In terms of investments to Mexico.
Oh, very good. Since we had a record in 25. You saw that we have $40,000 million in investment, growing at a record pace compared to 24. And for the first 6 years that we are here, let me see if I have it here. The first 6 months, of 26, we already have an amazing amount. I don't know where I have it here, but we have already investing coming at another record. So yes, by the end, we should be again breaking the record of 25. Well, thank you very much for connecting. And once again, we are happy to have this talk with you. Stay tuned. In September, we will have another discussion again at the end of the month. This time, we will be focusing more in detail in Plan Mexico. So as you know, we always go 1 month, we concentrate on trade. The second month, we go on investment. And the third month, we go to Plan Mexico, and then we repeat the cycle. And just to let you know, September will be very interesting because regarding the USMCA, there will be the last round and defining round, technical round of discussions of the revision that we are having now in 26. And this time, after the visit of the USTR to Mexico, Ambassador Beer, now we're having the visit of the Mexican team to Washington. So stay tuned, and any questions that you have after reading this, don't be shy. You write to us and we can send it to you. Thank you.